Chickadee, chickadee, check. We got a hot mic. We got a hot mic. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's another Hump Day Rep Wrap-Up. I am Pooch, a.k.a. Repcord, coming at you live from beautiful Auburn, California. So, let's see. Before we get started, couple housekeeping items. I'm mic'd up on the wireless this morning, or this afternoon, this evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching. And I just want to make sure I'm coming through okay. I got no audio. No audio. Serious? Ugh. Good thing I asked. This is what we get for doing a new thing. Okay. So we switch up the mic. What's going on here? Audio, built-in input. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. 1 second. Bear with me. Bet you it's the default output. Check. You jerk. Yes, I did think you were serious. Matt, I'm going to get you for that. That's what I get for trusting the chat. I'm like, I see my levels coming through and everything. Yeah. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, okay, so audio's good. Everybody's hearing me. Yeah, I see it now. Hey, Nick, welcome. Good to have you tonight. Let me get a little... This is a guarantee I'll be up late, but you know what? I got a lot going on, so we'll do that. Got to make sure I'm properly caffeinated. So for those of you who weren't with us last night, I've been trying out this interesting format because I don't want to say I'm lazy. I'm just really busy and don't have a lot of time to put together awesome videos the way that the Shorty Designs and the Tom Sandlanders and the Joel Tellings and the rest of the world does. So what I wanted to do was highlight some footage from Maker Faire and kind of give you my own commentary on some of the things that I found interesting. Last night we talked about, what did we talk about last night? We talked about the prosthesis, the awesome mech that was running around. Specifically, we also talked about the Crane Style Mini, which was a new style of printer I had never heard of before that Tinkers had me go check out. And if you want to see any of that, it's in the backlog for your viewing pleasure. But tonight, I wanted to hit some of the big stuff because obviously there's been a lot of excitement around the MMU2 that Prusa is releasing, the new Printrbelt, and the other thing I wanted to really feature was something that is near and dear to Apyro's heart. I don't want to speak for him, but he'll tell you he really likes David Shorey's stuff, and he really turned me on to some of this. So we did got some good footage of his stuff too that I'm going to show you in a little bit. And if you're not familiar with him, I'll put all the info for all of this stuff in the description. You guys can check it out. So for the record, if you haven't seen already, Joel Telling, 3D Printing Nerd, we all know who that is, did some really awesome videos actually on each of the three of these things, and I'm going to try not to be too repetitive to what he said. He did more of an interview style. This is more just raw, footage of stuff, and I'll pause it here and there to give commentary. So without further ado, oh, you know what? Before we dive in, I wanted to make one more housekeeping announcement. I'm really, really, really excited for this announcement. I committed to this yesterday. I was kind of on the fence for a while, but I'm really excited that I'm going to be going to IRF this year. Trying to rep for the West Coast contingent a little bit. amazing Nick Angers, who's in the chat, made me an offer I couldn't refuse on a sponsorship gig, and I was happy to support the cause. So I'm really excited to go check out the inaugural year of ERF at the Aberdeen Proving Grounds Arena in Bel Air, Maryland, coming up June 22nd through 24th. Is that right, Nick? Yeah. So if you're thinking about going to ERF, it's starting to gain steam. They're getting a good attendance. There's a lot of good sponsorships together. I hope I will see you there. Holler at me at the chat. Let me know if you're planning on going. Yep, I try to be the West Coast ambassador. But you know what? There's going to be some other big names there. Like I said, the sponsorships, I'm a small fish compared to some of these companies and stuff that are coming out. But hopefully there'll be good attendance, and it'll be interesting to see. I loved Murph so much that I felt like I couldn't miss ERF as well. So, yes, 22nd through 24th in Bel Air, Maryland. Put it on your calendar. If you are close by or even thinking about traveling for it, should be a good time. Good chance to check out. It's where all the purists go, right? This is rep rap only. So unlike a maker fair like we're going to talk about tonight, the content is primarily focused on 3D printing, which is what we all know and love. So that's that announcement. Let's dive in. So first thing I want to look at is the MMU2. So like I said, there's been a couple of other videos. This was actually announced. Prusa brought it to Murph, and so there's been video and talk of it, and it's been on pre-order on their website, I believe, since Murph. But they had it available and visible and working, and ready for. I don't want to say it's ready for prime time. They're not releasing it just yet, but it was working rather well, and it was really exciting to see. So I'm going to start off this video here. We're going to jump over to this view here. Start off with MMU2. And this is actually the lesser-known Michael Prusa. This is the younger brother of Joseph, and he is going to show us the loading up and kind of talk about the MMU2 and what it does. Michael Prusa is showing off the loading. We're going to do a full-on 5-filament print on the new MMU, and he's just getting it. So unlike the original, if you didn't hear that, it takes up to 5 filaments. The original one was 4. The mechanism is different, and you're going to see some details on that in a second here. Dialed in right now. You can see we've got one. He's got the secret filament tucked away under there. So there's 3 coming up and down. It's not a secret. You can see there's 3 filaments on the stick. Very nice. All right, so it looks like he's got it all loaded up, and we're closing it up.
And you can see there like which material you can print.
All right, sure enough, all 5.
But it's for most materials. It's like
and we'll get it going and come back and see what it's doing a little bit later on. So easy as that, really. So you have to open the thing up to actually do the load.
No, but
you're just verifying.
The filaments, the idler roller ends up in a situation that it was blocking me to guide the filament in.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I'll drink some more Coke.
Good. First you properly caffeinate. This is not sponsored by Coke.
yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, we can start.
All right. This is very advanced, upside down starting of prints.
I just took my laptop.
Oh, when somebody took the card. You just took the card. I didn't even notice.
I need to upload.
Mike. All right, so a couple things that got skipped over actually were explained by somebody else, but the audio was rough on that clip. The cool thing about the MMU is that it plugs straight into the Mark III board, and it will recognize the unit right off the bat with the most recent firmware. it is, like I said, it takes 5 filaments, and let me show you a cool close-up of the, let's see, that's the board. I'll talk about that in a second. Look at this one here. So here's a shot of it up close on the inner workings of it, and I gotta tell you, like, seeing this thing up close, the genius behind this design is not to be understated. This rotating barrel with the various idler wheels that engage depending on which color needs to be selected is just a really elegant solution, and I was really impressed by this. One of the things Michael was talking about when I asked him about what the limitations on getting the thing out in the wild was there are just a couple of little quirks with some of the pieces they were sourcing, one of which was this stepper right here. Oh. That was interesting. I hit the hot corner and my whole computer went to sleep. Just a sec. Looks like we're still live. Okay. Sorry about that. So this stepper motor here actually has a very elongated shaft that they've run these grubs onto, and while that seems kind of cool and convenient because those coupler things are always, they're not always, but it's one more thing to deal with that it would be nice not to. Apparently getting these shafts manufactured straight without a wobble and stuff is an issue, and that's more of a critical concern with something like this. So you can see that they've updated the print housing to actually have a space for a coupler, and they were saying they may well ship that way. What were the other things I wanted to talk about? Oh, the other thing they pointed out that I thought was interesting, and they mentioned this on the website as well, so apologies if this is redundant, but on top of doing a multicolor print, one of the cool things about this is if you have a whole bunch of like remnant filament laying around and maybe not enough to do a print in each, there's a mode on the thing that's intelligent enough to just basically feed in each of your remnant spools, and it will just run until the one comes out, and then it'll keep going, and so kind of opens up the opportunity to maybe walk away from a print if you have some leftover filament that you don't care about the color, so you're going to paint it or something like that. I thought that was a pretty cool feature. I did also ask him if you could potentially expand, like so that there could be more than 5 colors. And he said that, yes, it's certainly possible. There's obviously a practicality to the size of the whole thing and where you're going to store spools and stuff. So they thought 5 was a reasonable amount, and I agree. 5 seems like a decent amount. They're a color above what the current iteration of the palette does, I believe. And what was also cool about this, and I'm going to show you in maybe this next video. I'm going to do this close up, or I'll talk about it after we watch this. How about that?
That's a good shot.
That's a really good shot. That's cool. So, okay, so it sounds like then the limitation currently you're saying is the shaft inside of this stepper motor getting this straightness.
But definitely you can use a standard motor.
Yeah.
You see that we have a space
with the
here,
coupling.
so you can use cap link with it. Yeah.
Okay. So theoretically, somebody, if they decide they wanted to make a bigger one,
Yeah, you can.
yeah, but it's a question of what the firmware, the board can handle controlling and all that. Because you're using the same rainbow board, you said, right?
Yeah, but we have another electronics here. I can show you.
Oh, you said there was another Arduino.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not Arduino, but it's based electronics on Arduino.
Arduino-ish.
Yeah. But it's not based on Arduino Mega, it's based on Arduino Leonardo.
Okay.
So this is how a new board looks like.
So it's your custom iteration of it.
With a little sheep on it.
Very classic. So,
You can see it looks like there may be some room for expansion or whatnot, but anyway, so this is kind of a look at the inner workings of it. And one more close-up of, here's the board once again for those who care about such things. So All in all, really cool compact package. I realize here I didn't actually show off the print as it was going. Let me dig that up. I ended up having to come back. The battery died on my camera, so I had to come back with my phone to capture the last of it. And some cool R2 Robotics Club stuff. You get to see. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And the angle of the barrel, chooses which material will be pressed towards the pulley. And when you rotate it, you start rotating the pulley, and it will guide the material all the way to here. When the direct drive fixture catches the material, this one rotates again to loose it up, and you can print normal.
Mic audio is you know what's happening? Hold on a second. This is a very directional lav mic. Thank you for telling me that, Matt. Let's see if this is any better. I have it boosted, but if it's not like pointed straight at me, how we sounding now? Better? I'll talk in my booming voice. I can also boost it like a scotch more. Let's go up to 300%. And I'll work on tweaking the audio for the next presentation. So a couple last minute things on the MMU that I found cool and different from the version 1. I have not actually used the first version of the MMU, but I know the Angers family has, and probably some of the other people out there have as well. The original multi-material unit was more of a kind of like a 4-in-1 type configuration on the drive assembly itself. What they've done here is gone to allow the direct drive to pull each of the individual ones, and literally what it will do was, as it's changing out filament, it will draw the stepper at the top of the unit will actually pull out the last one, retract it all the way back, and then load in the next one into that Bowden tube. So you're not potentially running into the same jamming issues that they had before. Good. Well, still quietish, but better. We'll continue to improve, hopefully, on the audio later. But thank you for the feedback, Matthew. So that's the MMU. You can see it's actually kicking out some interesting stuff. The purge block is still similar to the way the palette and the original MMU work in that it's a lot of plastic, almost a solid block of plastic, and you can imagine, depending on the dimensions of the print, how much purging has to happen. One of the things that they did tell me that they're working on, which I was really glad to hear because this seems like low-hanging fruit for a purge block, is using it actually for infill. And so they're working on some software updates to actually utilize some of the purge within the infill. Obviously, doing the math around that gets complicated because the amount of infill you're using fluctuates wildly depending on what the model is and whatnot. So some models that may be a really fantastic use of the infill, the purge block, and others it really won't help. But this is the trade-off for being able to do multicolor across layers and stuff. And I gotta tell you, the results were really impressive. I think I tweeted out earlier that picture of Pyro with the little Viking hat. That was cool, and they had a whole bunch of other models that were out as well. Let me see it really quick if I...
This is the whole...
Oh, there we go.
So that's
an overview of like a lot of the stuff that they had there. So anyway, that's MMU. Let's move on to one that I was excited about all of these things, but the next thing I was really excited about was the new Printrbelt. Now, Printrbot is actually located in Lincoln, which is about 30 minutes away from me, and I've been lucky enough to be able to go down to their shop a couple of times and hang with Brooke and his crowd. And when they were doing Adopt-A-Bot, we did that, and that was awesome. And I got to see kind of when the original had come out and they announced it, and it was going to be priced at something like, I want to say $1,500. It was even higher. I want to say it was like $19.99, and then went on sale for like $16.99, and then Brooke said, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna dial it back. I don't let me go to the zoom wipe again. He wasn't comfortable with how it was progressing and how much it was costing and all that stuff, so being the professional that he is, he decided I'm going to refund people's money, and I'm going to make sure I get it right and then re-release. So on top of the version 2 of the PrintrBelt, they also announced a new variant of the Printrbot Play, as well as a new CNC, which was really cool. But I'm only going to focus on the PrintrBelt for today. So here's Brooke sharing the latest on the Printrbelt.
It actually takes the model and tilts it 35 degrees and then slices, and then it shifts every layer. So it's kind of like if you had a stack of layers. If you were to look at a graphical representation of what that actual model looks like, it would look like this. But because the conveyor moves it, it comes out solid.
What would you make on there?
So me, I want to do two things. I want to show some practical things that are longer than you're able to print, or taller, or whatever you want to call it, you know, that exceed the build area of a normal printer. Second, I want to show that you can make part after part after part after part.
You can make multiple parts.
So, the only one that can do that. Maybe not the only one, but the only one that does it like this.
Exactly.
And the best one. So that's it. That's the PrintrBelt.
Thank you.
So, fortunately, I didn't grab any close-up photos of it for this, but just to talk about it really quickly, the original looked more like a V, where the part that was coming off at the 35-degree angle actually had supports on either side of it, and the gantry kind of moved between them. In this design, he's gone to kind of a cantilever, so less parts, less material, obviously less cost associated with it, and I think he priced it really aggressively. You'll see in some of the other videos where they're talking about he is very upfront, and it says this on the website and stuff too. This is not your average kit where you are expecting to get this thing together and having it crank out of the box. He's saying this is for advanced builders only. There's going to be some tinkering. There's going to be some hurdles involved. The main issue, I think, right now is the questions around the software. Bill Steele from Polar 3D developed the Polar Cloud, which is compatible with the PrintrBelt. Is currently the software that they're directing people to use. But what he didn't say in this video, but he does say in Joel's, and I'll put a link maybe to Joel so you can get a little bit more detail on that. Brooke actually hand-coded the G-code for this model the night before, just to show this off, because slicing is obviously proprietary for how this looks. So what is interesting is that I imagine as the software catches up, it won't be too bad. He was saying that you could actually take a model, rotate it 35 degrees, and then slice it, and that would theoretically provide proper G-code. But it's almost hard to wrap your head around how the Z-axis is like this. It's the belt, I guess, as it goes. And he started to talk about how it's constantly shifting as it's going up, and so that creates some interesting math in the slicing. So full disclosure, I was excited about this. I was excited about it before, but at the $600 price point, I'm happy to support it. So I put an order in. I'm hoping I'll be able to actually go down and pick it up directly from the facility, maybe do some video while I'm there and chat them up a bit. But I think it'll be cool to see, and I like living on the bleeding edge every once in a while, so we'll see how that goes when delivery time comes. And I think right now they're estimating like a 3-week lead time. I don't recall, but I'm not in a hurry. I've got plenty of other things to tinker with between now and then. So that's PrintrBelt. Behind him too, I don't know if you saw there was a new CNC. If you're interested in any of the other Printrbot lineup and stuff, go to the website. They talk about all the new stuff that they've launched. was really excited to see Brooke come to Bay Area with a bunch of new stuff. You know, when I'd last seen him at Murph, you know, there was a lot of, I was like concerned, but you know, he'd been coming down, you know, from a downsizing or you know, optimizing of the business and stuff, and you know, he was just really pumped, and the energetic Brooke that we all know and love, and excited to show off this new stuff. So that was really awesome to see. All right, moving on. Let's see. All right, so this is one of my favorites here. I teased it earlier. This is Shorty Designs. If you haven't seen this before, this guy is doing probably one of the coolest things with 3D printing right now. People like Uncle Jesse and other people that are big in cosplay have featured some of his stuff before. If you are into this kind of thing, I highly recommend you going and checking out his, becoming a patron, because he makes all these models available for you, but I'm getting ahead of the game. So I want to start off, I'm going to show, here's a video of Travis actually.
So what we have are essentially
3D printed on paper clips. So this was a print and then a stop and place paperclip and then resume.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
How did you?
How does it feel?
So I actually modeled a cavity for that.
Yeah.
That holds it in.
So it's got like a little like pin almost.
Yeah,
that holds
exactly.
It, yeah. That's so cool. I've been.
So there's an octagonal setup that he'd done with paper clips, and his designs are very, you know, interesting in that, you know, like I said, he prints part of it, does a stop, puts in his substrate, in this case paper clips, and then resumes the print. And that's cool, but it gets way better than this. So here's kind of an over.
resume, and it just prints out like so.
How many layers do you have to put down before you put the fabric down?
So typically they do about 2 layers. I think it's about like 0.25 millimeters and everything.
Okay.
And then at that point the print head moves away like that, and then we put the fabric over. We tape the sides so once the bed starts moving again, it prevents any shifting or any bunching of the fabric. And then we just let it go.
And you're doing it while it's all hot and still, so it'll fuse through the fabric as best as you can? Very cool.
Oh man, we're buffering hard. Well, hopefully you guys hang with me a little bit. It looks like as people are coming home and starting to stream, my internet connection may be dying off on me a little bit. But we'll see how this goes. Let me just keep chugging away on these designs. This was one of my favorite things that he was showing.
And then they'll snap into here like a Ziploc bag.
Oh, nice.
And that way I can create a compound curve.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The thing that, so if you want like ribs for a courser or something like that, so I wanted to show you what this is. This I could print wider, and then you could drop in a piece of metal into it to help strengthen the whole thing.
So this is subtle, but I feel like it speaks to the brilliance of David's kind of designs. If you've ever tried fabricating anything that's being worn, you know that like handling curvature is a tough thing to do. And so he was showing off here that he kind of created this piping that creates angles that allows you to lay your fabric over and then use these 3D printed pieces to kind of create your curvature, which I just think is fantastic and brilliant, you know, in its elegance. Let's see what else we got going. This is super cool. The scales that everybody's seen. Put this one down.
Other ways of applying 3D prints.
That's awesome, man. Finally, your lifelong dream of dragonifying yourself,
It's like,
yeah, is come true.
put it on your shoulder.
Or you could be a Birdman. The options are.
So it's really cool how nicely that actually drapes over. And I think I'm going to jump ahead on these and basically just show off. This was one of the applications I thought the thing is all he made these gauntlets with the same kind of scales, and here's an actual video of that, kind of to see
so
how
you can like
the whole print flexes.
Yeah, man. That's just so fantastic. Seriously, one of the best applications of 3D print and mixed media.
Yeah.
Seen. Shorty Designs, they do it right here.
We're cutting in and out pretty hard. Okay, well, look, rather than try to fight the stream, I think I'm already past my 30 minutes for tonight, and I'm going to jump off. One thing I'll leave you with, this is a non-3D printing thing, but I like to show off, something like that, just to give you a sense of all the other stuff that was at Maker Faire. This was a really cool video of the world record paper airplane throw. The gentleman that did that was there. So you can see the world record is 226 feet, 10 inches, or at least that was as of 2012. I'm not sure if it still stands, but here's what.
Yeah, it's
Is it that cool?
And the gentleman, John Collins, was there presenting and actually showed the design off and whatnot. I can't believe somebody could actually huck a piece of paper that far and have it fly that far, but I thought that was an impressive thing. Anyway, well, I think this was a little bit rough, but I still had a good time kind of showing off some stuff. There's a whole bunch more footage as well, so who knows, maybe I will clip together some of the stuff that I haven't talked about. But for now, given the stream issues and stuff, I'm just going to call it a night. I want to thank everybody for hanging with me, and just tell you, cut. That I love you all, and look forward to chatting all with you soon. So, Pooch, Repcord, signing off. Have a good night, everybody.